good evening, people. Welcome to another episode of the Bridge Podcast. We running a little behind schedule because we had to get some technical things sorted out before we got on the air. So here we are again, once again this week, and we finna jump right into it. With 1 year later after the death of George Floyd, what are we here fighting for as a people? What are we looking for? What do we expect? What are the focus of what are we focused on? So we finna go ahead and jump off into this conversation, and I'm gonna say we're fighting for to be seen as a regular human being, as a person of value, because it seems like this American system doesn't value us as a human being. They might value us as a commodity that we're here for a service, we're here to work for them, we're here to spend our money back in there, but they don't see us overall as a bona fide person that they should respect. How do you feel before we get off into this iron?
Ooh, equality. Yeah, definitely respect. Um, you know, to be heard for sure. No, to be listened to and heard. Um, and to have, I think people understand that we're more than just a face, a name, or a number. Um, especially, if we're talking about us as black people, yeah. Um, but to be recognized and to not be, want not to be silenced when we are speaking truth, um, and speaking truth to power. Yeah.
Yes, because as we look back in the past, let's say five, and let's say in the last eight 8 to 10 years, the 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 way that we have been treated as a people, even though it never stopped, it seems like they're turning back the hands of time to where they can just kill us as kill us outright, and nothing should come from it. That we have seen it from the police, we have seen it with stand your ground, we have seen it in many forms that we that our lives just don't hold the value as the next person's life or the next race.
Hmm.
And that I have some, well, I'm gonna start on the what one of the things that we need as a people is the end of qualified immunity. And qualify, if you don't know what qualified immunity is, it basically allows the cops to break the law, I would say, and get away with it.
Yeah, basically,
And
that, for them not to be held accountable, uh,
yes,
because they're cops.
because they're cops. And I have a couple of things I wanted to show this evening to say qualified immunity. it doesn't. Even though, let's say you're 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 arrested, you go through the court system, you still don't face the same type of time for the crime that you have committed. And I'm gonna start off with this little clip of the Ronald Green arrest.
Mm.
Let me see your fucking hands, mother. Come here, mother. Get out. Okay. Come here, mother. Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, get him. Let me see his hands. Oh, Lord. Let me see his hands. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm your brother. I'm scared. Sir, get on the ground. Get on the ground. Taser. Make sure you get rolling. Oh, get up here. Get that on. Oh, blood all over. Oh, this guy ain't got AIDS.
Ronald Green handcuffed on the ground. The AP reports that later, after a several-minute stretch in which Ronald Green is not seen on camera, he appears again limp, unresponsive, bleeding from his head, bleeding from his face. He's then loaded onto an ambulance gurney. His arm is cuffed to the bed rail. But here what you will see is an officer putting leg shackles on him. And then I'm not going to show you this part, but what you can see in part of this video is the officer dragging Mr. Green by those leg shackles across the ground face.
Across the ground, face down. This is what she was finishing
Right.
statement. Now, it is 5/25/2011. That happened on when I tell you that happened, Ari, June.
2 years ago. Some
No, 2016.
for Green.
Yes. No.
Green
No,
was
that
2 years
yeah,
ago.
you're right. This
Ronald Green
2
was 2
years.
years ago.
This is 2 years ago. And what justice has this family seen so far? Because first off, the police lied when they first got him they brought him in to the emergency room and said they found him like that, crash, and he crashed in a tree and they was dead on arrival. If it wasn't from the doctor that examined him and said no, this don't add up. And if he died from the impact into a tree, why
Right.
does he have taser the taser barbs in him?
Yeah. Taser barbs. So so not only did they lie on their report, they lied about what they told the family. And yes, internally, after some processing, yes, there was an investigation that started, but it seemed like the investigation took a turn where it started, the cover up really started, because one of the officers that was there, that had some extra audio, he died like a year later in a single car crash when he found out that he was about to be fired because of that incident. But it shouldn't take you 2 years to do no investigation when you can clearly see what is happening on the tape. You know that what they put in the report was a lie. He did not die. Yes, it was a car chase, but he did not die on impact crashing in a tree. And how do you explain all the injuries he got? And of course, yes, the taser and all that stuff. And whomever leaked this video, kudos to them. And I was saying to you earlier, I feel like you feel like there's a certain energy where you think more tapes might just be leaked because of the injustice that's been committed against us as black people, black men. You know, so when I think about all instances where cops stop people in remote areas, whether it's dark or what, and there's no witnesses around, they got free reign to do whatever and say whatever they want to say, because it's going to be their word against yours. They're in control. Um, so it does seem like the battle, the fight, the uphill fight, as it is that I'm saying, because we as a people knew, all these things. What's up, Detron? What's happening, to a lot of us. It's just that now, we a lot of the scenes that you're seeing are being shown on video because a lot of people are able to now videotape a lot of stuff, and when you see cities and states trying to enact laws now where they're trying to ban people from videotaping and this, that, and the other. It's just crazy, you know. So we have a lot of things, to not just talk about, but we have a lot of things to fight for.
And to be make it true to the man that killed the officer that killed himself because he found out he was going to be brought up on charges
Hmm.
is because they found the tape where he was confessing to. He said I beat the living fuck out of him.
Mm.
So now hey, you on tape saying that.
Hmm.
So so they gotta bring charges up. But
Right. So and I think and as much as so everybody's like, I said, what's going to happen? I guess the question is, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? And of course, the family is like, not justice can be served unless having people fired when there are obvious crimes that have been committed is just not enough. You know,
mhm,
the being fired, as we know, is just kind of like a slap on the wrist. Why?
especially for police officers
Yeah,
because they
because
go somewhere else.
yeah, they go somewhere else and get a job.
Hmm.
They may not get a okay, so they may not get a job as a cop, but a lot of them are still in security related jobs, and they don't have to disclose none of that stuff. They don't have to disclose none of that stuff. You know, so they can continue their lives. They can still go home to their families. Alive.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay, and I'm wanting to show another
man.
another piece. Yeah, I'm on this tonight, Ari. Uh,
Yes,
another clip from
Detroit, you are a
the
man.
great the great city of St. Paul, Minnesota.
Hold on. I got cuff for you. Yep. Yeah. Put your fucking hand on the ground. Don't move. Turn over. Please. Get up, buddy. Get up, buddy. Good. Get in the house. Get on the fucking ground. Get your hands in. Get in. Move. Get in. Boy. Cut that in. Good boy. Good boy.
Boy, what the
Stop.
fuck?
Good boy. That's a good boy.
Good boy. Oh man, good boy. All right, good boy. Good boy. You look at those scenes, and of course, yeah, none of us were, present at that scene. Or none of us were present, in scenes depicted, 100, 200 years ago, 300 years ago. When what did we just watch? Um, yeah, real quickly, and you feel like, when they instituted the policing, um, sort of, groups to hunt down and catch slaves, it just feels like that was part of the regimen in how, slaves were treated when they were caught. You know, I'm sure to be beaten and dragged, and if they felt it necessary, some of them were just plain, simple and plain lynched right there, then and there. You know, and it just feels like modern day. It just feels like modern day lynching. It just feels like modern day lynching.
That's exactly what it is, and to a point that you're watching people watch another black human being get mauled by a dog, get kicked in the head by a overseer, because that's what I'm gonna call a police officer.
Yeah, that's the overseer. Yeah,
Yeah, because he's
they all have
oversee
their roles,
overseeing us.
right? So when you have people outside who that don't look like us, that want to spin a narrative, that's saying, we are blowing things out of proportion, we're blowing smoke, you know or trying to create fire where there's no smoke. Well, we are proving and providing receipts constantly now, you know on a regular basis. Before, it didn't seem like, you'd see it piecemeal. Everybody wanted to say, well, the media is responsible for spinning a certain narrative. But when you have, receipts that show, things that are happening in real time, how do you refute that? You know, but as we can see, when you have quote unquote leadership, in our government that wants to whitewash these instances or these incidents, pretend that things don't happen, and to give their brothers the benefit of the kind of sort of doubt. You know, um, they have the upper hand. You they are in control, so they can control the narrative, and they can basically, tell you basically to go to hell. We are in control of this narrative, and we gonna just like how the cat from the attorney general, or the DA, was it the DA or attorney general? Um,
Ask that again. Say that again, because I was looking for something right quick.
yeah, the DA, the district attorney last week, that Wombly, um, that came out and spoke against the the incident about the guy that they went to do the search and arrest, and he got shot in the head, and how he basically said, you know the officers were justified, and basically, it seems as if that means the case is closed. You know, they were justified. You know, there's no wrongdoing. So basically, they're saying, we are spinning the narrative, and we're in control, and we're going to tell you, you know, what is going to happen. You know, so they all just feel like we're all helpless, at a certain point. What's Biden doing about anything? Wasn't this subject part of his campaign promises? Oh,
You really want me to get started on that, B Tron? What he's doing about it is absolutely nothing. It would take an Asian or a white person to be physically attacked like that before he starts jumping out there and passing laws.
but he can, but the law, but to be honest, to the president,
I know he can't pass the law, but
as we've seen over the years, presidents have certain amount of a certain amount of power. It's definitely not absolute, as this other former guy would like to think, and trying to use that as his defense now. Now that grand jury is going to be convened, to really talk about whether or not they're going to indict him on crimes. Um, but there's only so much I think a president can do without the benefit of Congress. And we don't have a strong foothold in the numbers in Congress, to do what should be done. And I think, you know, if you're looking at it from the Democratic side, I think they're operating from a place of fear. Um, when you talk about the filibuster, um, they don't operate like the other side does. Yes, we have a two-party system. That's what it is right now. And it just seems that they are operating from a place of fear that if we do one thing, it's going to harm us next year, as opposed to just going in, gangbusters and like gangsters, like the other side does. Because I guarantee you, if this was a Republican Senate and a Republican Congress, they would be acting like gangsters. You know,
Mhm.
they understand that they have the upper hand, and they will be operating like gangsters.
Yeah, and that's the main thing about it. That's the main thing about it. That if if it was them, they'll be moving to it, and that's the whole thing I was saying. Like if it was a white person or Asian or any other ethnicity,
Hmm.
there'll be more of a movement to try to change what is happening. But because it's people of color, we're gonna say there is no real movement.
Right. So as you can see, as which was evident from the election last year, that and one of the things that we we can't seem to fully grasp is that we, even though we may be the minority, black people, that we have a certain amount of power at our hands.
Mhm.
And it is for us, I think, to understand that, capitalize on that consistently, not every once in a while. You sort of move in the cadence and say, all right, let's get this done this time, and understand that we can do it every single time. Not just in elections, but also the flip side of that is every time that we sort of get a leg up, where not only our voices are heard, but our actions are seen, and they are starting to bear fruit, then we get squashed. We get squashed by an opposing side that says no, we can't allow them, you know, He's had the same circle American cancer. My own, you know, when you say that, I say time is your judgment when it comes to, I think, the current administration. How long has Biden been in office?
He
What is it?
hasn't been in there 200 days, not 150 days yet.
So what's that? 4 months?
Yeah.
4 months. All right. So I can, as much as I personally can't jump on the bandwagon and say, yes, he hasn't done anything. If after, the first 2 years, and it doesn't seem like, it's trending where anything is being done, I'm not even going to give 4 years. I'm giving the first 2 years, you in terms of where we would like to see things go. Um, you know, then I say start jumping down throats. Too bad we can't just be taking names and kicking ass, taking names and numbers later. Just kick ass first. Um, I think we need. I think there's more time that needs to be done, and I think it was the same thing when Obama came into office. Everybody expected this immediacy, so if nothing happens after 2 years, then I think you have all right to say, you know that was a bust. He's not really doing anything, to appease the black people, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian, Green Party, whatever the hell it is you are, whatever you support. So I don't know.
But this what I'm gonna say about that. I mean, you said that you gotta give it some time, right?
But like,
He
yeah,
just
and the time for me, it's, yeah, like I said, I'm not giving 4 years. You
uh,
know,
uh,
yeah,
I'm gonna just say that it looks mighty suspicious to me, as you just got in office, but you already passed a law about hate crimes for Asians, and you just got into office,
hmm
and here we are talking about something that people know and that's been happening, and he knows it's been happening. The police on black crime,
right,
and you still and I'm like, it's happening right before your eyes, and you see it getting worse and worse and worse. You're talking about, so I'm not saying that the Asian hate is not bad, but you're talking about somebody that's getting hurt, and we're talking about black people dying.
right, right. But when you look at it, what is more beneficial and expedient for them? We are a bigger block than Asian minorities. But what is more beneficial and easier for them to do, to sort of quell, I guess, the fire. Yeah, it's easier for them to go out and pass laws for hate against Asian, um, because the powers that be in Congress on both sides, Senate and the House, it's easier for them to do that because we have a bigger voice, and we are who they want to suppress. You know, it has always been that. We are the people who helped built and made this country, and we have a voice, and as a voice, as a group of people, we're the ones that can make more changes and cause more damage, to their rhetoric and the garbage that they're spewing. So it's more beneficial for them to do those little things and make it seem like they're doing something, when you know we are the people that they need to really suppress, because we're the ones that can really cause some damage in elections, in the way we speak, because we are not we are so sick and tired that you know at any moment now, as Michelle Obama, things can pop off. you know, things can pop off. So yeah, there's no urgency to help the black people because they know what kind of power that we have. But I think we're the ones that don't understand the power that we have. And like I said earlier, we don't, try to um, jump on that in a consistent basis all the time. It only seems that we're there, you know, for some, for the big election. You know what? We don't always go out and vote. We only vote when we think it's important. When I think all the time should be important. All the time. But now, they're passing laws to suppress us even more, suppress our voice, suppress our constitutional right to go out and protest, to go out, no, not to go out and riot, but to go out and protest. You
And
can't even go and protest in the street. You can't, like, you just can't go out and protest now.
I'm a blow back to what Detron said. I'm gonna ask this question: is it that he said you're not black if you don't vote Democrat, or did he say you're not black if you don't vote for me?
Who said that?
Because Biden, because he was on the
Yeah, I remember him saying something to the effect. I can't
yeah.
recall exactly how he said it.
Fact checker, can you find out which one it is? Is it you're not black if you don't vote Democrat, or is it you're not black if you don't vote for me? That's what if that Joe Biden said that. and I agree. And but I'm gonna say this because I'm agreeing to this statement right here. This is what desegregation gave us: the loss of economic power. And I feel that way because now people think that they gave you the right to join them. No, they gave you the right to come spend your money in their stores, in their establishments, in their restaurants, and now you don't have the economic power in your own neighborhood because you're taking it out of your neighborhood and you're spending it elsewhere.
Economic empowerment. All right.
Mhm.
So where exactly are we? Where exactly are we spending our money? Where and why is it that you know? I guess based on where we're spending the money, does that mean a reduction in our strength because we're not spending the money amongst ourselves? We're spending the money elsewhere.
It in a point you're losing power in your community because the money is not circulated in the community. It's not paying for stuff that's happening in the community, the upkeep of the community. If you have a black city and you're spending money outside of that city, how is the city making money?
Exactly. So when you look at this weekend coming up, May 31st, June 1st, is the 100th anniversary for Tulsa, Greenwood District, the destruction and the massacre, of that city, of that region of Oklahoma. And when you looked at what was happening in that city at the time before all of that happened, they said that a dollar went through Greenwood, I think 19 times. 19 times before it went out of Greenwood. And for the most part now, you can have a dollar, go 3 or 4 times, if that much, in most of our communities, because most of our dollars are spent outside of those communities. And so how do we get back to that where we're keeping our dollars? People are moving out of neighborhoods that were predominantly black. Um, Businesses that are being created are not being created in those communities because people have moved out, so they're making business, where they are. Yes, black people, a lot more black people are forming businesses, but those businesses are not being formed in black communities.
I agree with you there, Ari. And for the most part, um, let's just take for down here, for instance, when people spend their money, and it used to be tourists. Hold on a second. Go ahead, take it for a second. I gotta see about this dog.
The dog is raising Dickens. Yeah, you know, yeah, monies need to be. We have to account for every dollar in these communities. And yes, I know there are a lot of politicians. Well, sorry, maybe not a lot. There are a handful of politicians in certain communities that are really wanting, their constituents to thrive. And oftentimes what I see is that things would be set up in communities because, they were able to secure dollars, to help said communities. And a lot of times, you know, there's a lot of well, I don't know if it's pushback, but oftentimes it's not full 100% support um, to that's given by residents in most of those communities, to be on board with the ideas that are meant to improve those communities. You know, yes, yeah, exactly what I was going to say. We are canceling ourselves. We are canceling ourselves because of different reasons: selfishness, greed, complacency, ineptitude. Um, you know, we are often fighting amongst ourselves. The crab in the barrel mentality still exists. We are not always willing to help each other build. And that is why Tulsa became the place it was, because everybody that was in Tulsa understood the need for all the people that came, the black people that were escaping, that were looking for freedom, whether they were being held by the Native Americans and even Native Americans that were slaves themselves. They understood the need to work together, to build a community, to build banks, to build, movie theaters, doctors were serving the community. You know what I'm saying? They understood the need to work together. And that's why, Black Wall Street thrived the way it thrived. They understood the need to help each other. Where people, when you look at the stories that are being told, wealthy black people created opportunities, and for a lot of them, they helped each other to grow. They helped each other to start businesses, and to not only to start those businesses, but to see those business grow and flourish. So the help is not just to help you start, okay? And oftentimes we see that there's help to help us start, but sometimes the help diminishes or disappears to help those business continue. you know in we all, as an entrepreneur, that starting is one thing, but you have to continue the business needs to grow. When you get to a point where, okay, you need to scale up your business, you need more help. And oftentimes the help is not there, or sometimes the people don't understand the necessity of seeking said help, or understand the necessity of where to go to get said help. So education, is a big part of business. You have to educate yourself, one, in your business, understand how your business work, how you think your business should flourish, and then you go outside and seek help. And oftentimes, though, we go to places that are ran by people that don't look like us. Hence, when you start talking about redlining and all that stuff, they're not in it to help you. So we're looking to people who are like us, who have the means to be able to help us. One United Bank, came on the scene as a black owned bank to help people in the communities that bank was. But for some reason, a lot of black people weren't jumping on board to establish accounts, in that bank. Hence the bank, it's probably not, doesn't have the means to help them because they don't even know that you exist.
I want to ask. I want to say this about too, about us spending our money outside our community, and how quick they're willing to counsel us. How many times has a black person received bad service in a establishment outside of their community and still continue to go back there?
All the time. That happens all the time. It
And that's
happens
what I'm
all the
saying.
time.
But
And I don't know if this is a mental, if it's a mental conditioning to say, okay, black people can't run successful businesses, but we are often the first ones to tear down our own black establishments. You know, but we either will go and accept, mediocre customer service from other people, and still support them, like you said. But we're not, because I think because we think our voice, should be heard in the black community, when I just think that we go about it in the wrong way. We are always quick to put people on blast in public forums, you know, as opposed to, as you would say, take people to the side and say, hey, look, we came to your establishment, blah blah blah. This is what we experienced. You know, we had a good time, but there's certain things that you guys just need to tighten up on, as opposed to putting people on blast in public forums.
and I think that's what it is. Also, what Detron said, they need a mental awakening, reawakening,
Hmm.
but it is mental. We have been brainwashed
Hmm.
into thinking that stuff is better, even though they treat us any kind of way. Like, oh, you're gonna come and spend your money here anyway, no matter if it's good, excellent service, or if we treat you like dirt because you want to be here.
All right. So that's one. What that's okay. So that's one perspective. So here's another perspective. When it comes to a reawakening, we also have to understand that we have a responsibility to govern ourselves as well. So when you open a business in communities and you want to see them grow, you have to learn what everybody else does, to make sure that those businesses flourish. You have to teach, or well, you have to learn first learn what good customer service is, and then you have to teach it to the people that work for you, because they are now a representative of you. So if you are the person at the head, and you are not the one teaching them, they're going to basically come in and treat their customers the way they normally treat everybody else. And you are there, you get treated the same way. So you have to, re-educate people in what it takes, to keep dollars in your community. you know You have the bad attitudes, to your own people is something that you need to do away with. And we as a people, we need to stop accepting from our own mediocrity. You know, we need to keep let me, let them know that we need you to succeed, but you can't treat us, like we are different from you. We are the ones that are going to help you succeed. So you need to give us the same respect that you give, the other people as well. So it starts, internally. We have to treat ourselves the same way that we expect other people to treat us. We have to treat our own, if not better too, because we know that we're going to be critical. We know this, and if you know this, then you need to change, the way you do business. It can't be business as usual, and you're treating the people in your community worse than.
I agree with that, and I'm gonna bite my tongue, son, because especially after the day I had today, what Detron said just somewhat happened to me today as a black business person and as our very own people that was that was at the core of it. And when uh, what how they did it was they didn't realize, as they said later, oh, I didn't know the business was yours. If you ain't know it doesn't matter if you knew the business was mine or not.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
You did this to a black person,
Mhm,
another black person, and
mhm,
and it pissed me off tremendously. And I'm like, and then to turn around and say, "Oh, I didn't know it was your." So it only mattered now because you said it was. Oh, I didn't know it was your business. That's the only reason it mattered now. So the bad business you did, no matter what, didn't
mhm.
count now.
Right. So when you look at okay, we also want discounts from black vendors and brag about paying top dollar for, white people products. And that is one of the things that I think is disabling for our communities. Um, we know what kind of talent we often bring to situations. We are smart, we are intelligent, we are brainstormers, we have good ideas, and we can implement those good ideas. But when people come to support us, they come with a certain attitude that because you look like me, you should give me a discount. And I was like, wait a minute. But when you go to the other person, you don't ask for a discount. You
Hmm.
will readily open up that checkbook or that credit card or that Zelle or that Cash App or whatever the hell it is that that you have to pay, and just pay it readily, because supposedly those products are superior when there are products that we have come up with that are oftentimes far superior, um, than some of those products. But for some reason we don't, we don't value ourselves enough to say, shit, I'm gonna pay top dollar for brother man's product, for brother man's service, brother woman's service, brother woman's product. We don't put the same value on it as we do outside of our community, you know, and hence you always have people complaining. We do this, and we're trying to do it for the community, but we don't get the support. You
Mm.
know, we will spend the money elsewhere because we deem, other products to be superior when we have far superior products, available. And we don't get consistent support, in developing these businesses.
It, to your last comment, it starts at home, Detron.
The re-education,
It starts at home.
And you're
It
right.
start.
And Detroit is right. It's not about Democrats or Republicans when it comes to re-education, for sure.
Hmm.
It really isn't about Democrat. It isn't about any party. You know, it's just about you know supporting each other. You know, because at the end of the day, we all have to eat.
Hmm.
Understanding that the pie. Yes, the pie it looks small, but when you start to divvy up the pie, you understand that there really is a lot more within the pie to go around, right? But most of us seem to think that, okay, once you start divvying up the pie, my 1%, whatever percentage it is, oftentimes is not enough. I want 4% of the pie. So you come up and you want a little piece of the pie, you sometimes get squeezed out by your own
Hmm.
because we don't see it necessary for others to come in to get a piece of the pie. We're not helping others to come in to get a piece of the pie. Once we start getting a piece of the pie, a lot
We
of
want
us,
all the pie.
yeah, we want all the pie, you know, and you shouldn't come in and trying to get piece of my pie.
Hmm.
You so I'm gonna get all the pie that I can get, and then you get to a level of success, and you said, all right, this is still not enough. I want more
Hmm.
pie. Yeah, you want more pie. So anybody else that's coming in is gonna have a hard time getting a piece of the pie because you are not willing to share. You're whether you're not willing to share the pie or you're not willing to share how to get a piece of the pie. you know what I do, different platforms of what I do. People have knocked me for wanting to help other people in different ways. And maybe it's just how I was built, how I was brought up, how I saw my mother do things. And that's part of my regimen. But to help people, in certain parts, sometimes, yes, you get to a point where it's like, well, fuck it. Okay, I'm only gonna do this. Where, yeah, where you start understanding. Okay, well, I've done enough. Then, yeah, I have to really look out for myself as well too. So
Hmm.
maybe before you were doing, you were trying to help 100 people. Well, maybe now you try to help 10 people. And then try to help yourself as well. Because sometimes you do get lost in the shuffle when you're trying to help others as well.
Yeah, and sometimes when you trying to help others, they forget about you got to help yourself along the way too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if you were a standing, as the beacon, where people would come to for help. When we look at different industries,
Mm.
and people start, as forgive the terminology, but people started to shit on you or crap on you because they understand what it is that they want, and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna get it however I can get it, and if it
Hmm.
means backstabbing you, cutting you out, even yeah, you were there before. It's like, nah, I ain't giving you that respect, man. I'm gonna cut you out because I'm gonna go get mine. It's all about I'm gonna get mine, and we just forget, what it means to bring each other along. So we all can share in that pie, and I think that's why that all when I say, I think that's why a lot of communities suffer because we're not always willing to share, a piece of the pie. You know,
So what you're saying? We also should be fighting for unity amongst us.
well, how? Yeah, well, if we're not unified amongst ourselves, how are we supposed to grow? How are we supposed to grow and to combat the things that are met, thrown again, to us against us? You know, one person can only do so much, but strength in unity. To take a message from our Haitian brothers. Le union force la fête, strength in unity. Okay, if we accomplish more together than what we would do as one entity, one person, or strength in numbers.
Okay, and that's so we need to be fighting for unity. What else should we be fighting for? I already said one is the end of qualified immunity.
I think the qualified, when it comes to yes. So we need to because they are protected. There is a force that protects cops, unions, and those unions are strong, right? Those
Hmm.
unions are strong, and push comes to shove. If they don't agree with some, they have the backative to fight against anything that's going to come to to upheave the status quo for them. They're going to fight against that. They have the backative to do that. So to fight against that terminology, it means strength in numbers. We have to be unified in our ideals and ideas. Um, can't just be some civil rights attorney over here and some civil rights attorney over there. The unification of numbers is what's going to generate more economic empowerment. Fighting together. And I often, ever since that we started this show, it always come down to that. How do we fight together? And I think we still haven't learned how to fight together. There's still too much infighting amongst ourselves.
That, so that goes back to, like we said, uh, what he said earlier. Okay, um, that goes back to needing the unity, coming
Right.
together.
Well,
Now,
so Detron is saying reparations. So how does okay, explain how does reparations allow us to be unified per se, Detron? How does reparations allow us to be unified? I mean, reparations is not across the board kind of thing, because especially if you're talking about states, every state has a different perspective in how they view reparations.
mhm.
You know, um, people, if you go back to Oklahoma, that's one thing. If you go to Georgia, that would be another thing. So it's not just like how we had the whole, in the pandemic, and there should have been a national um, order, if you would, to across the board. There was not that one thing. Every state had a different way of dealing with the pandemic, right? Um, it takes money to do things, otherwise you'll be told to wait. And yeah, and that's what we see, And but the thing is, the money is there though.
But let's say this: you get the reparations, right? But what good is it going to do it if they get the money and take it right outside the community?
It doesn't do anything for the for the community if that happens, right?
Hmm.
So yeah. So if you're gonna get the reparations, one would think, hopefully, that the reparations would come back to help build those communities in the way that they used to be. But that's not what's going to happen. That's definitely not what's going to happen. It's going to be spent, and the way as a society progresses and evolves,
And
we
two,
we have different ideals as to how we should spend money. You
and
know,
that's what I was getting ready to say. And two, that when I say it starts at home, we have to start teaching the children the power of economic power and how to spend and keep the money in the community. Because that's the only way we can impact change.
well, yeah. So it starts from, yeah. So it starts from not just young people, but it starts from kids. And you have to inculcate them in how how money is made, how money is spent, or how money is made, how money is kept, and how money is spent. Right? It I think those are the three things. How it's made, how it's kept, and how it's spent. You know, and once you understand that, then you understand, I think, how you spend the money, to build your communities. So if you're always spending the money, and whether you're a millennial or whatever the hell you are, you know, buying nice things for yourself, buying nice things for your family, you know, because I think that's what it is. People, I think, have become so disconnected from their communities. Everybody wants to move away from their communities because of what the communities are presently like. Everybody wants to go seek new opportunities, and when they do find those opportunities, oftentimes they don't often come back to their communities. They are building other communities except the ones that they came from. Right. Yes, they don't have to live there but oftentimes, Detron, people become successful, and they don't reinvest in their communities. They don't go back and buy up real estate in their communities en masse. Everybody's like, you know what, shit, I grew up in this community. This is what I just want to get out. I just want to get out, get out, get out, get out. And they will build up other communities and not come back to rebuild or continuing to build their own communities. Everybody just wants to go. I want to get out. I want to get out. I want to get out.
Hmm. And that goes to what he's saying. We need to just do business with each other. If if you move out the community and the businesses are back in your old community, are you truly going back there to spend the money like you saying, Ari? Or are you just saying, "Oh, I'm out of there. I'm find somewhere else to spend my money"?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, okay, I guess, look at entertainers. You know, um, unless you're a tried and true for some individuals, it's like, this is where I grew up, and I'm for the people. As opposed to, this is where I grew up and I'm for myself.
Hmm.
You know, they make their bag, they make their coin, they make their successes. Um, when I look at someone like Udonis Haslam, basketball player, successful, win championships for the Miami Heat. Where has Udonis Haslam decided to put a stakehold? In his communities. He's built businesses in his communities, subways, other businesses as well. You know, um, collaborations with other partners. Him and D Wade. Restaurant might not be exactly the community, but they're here in South Florida. You know, but they've had other options to create other businesses, in other parts of their communities that they grew up in, that they lived in. And I think it takes more individuals like that to see, communities grow. Because as we see, not just, when it comes to what's the word I'm looking for? Where we just where all the white people come into the communities.
Gentrification.
Gentrification, as we can see, gentrification, you know, is a prime reason why a lot of our communities don't look the way they used to look. One, we get bought out. Some people took the opportunities, and they took that quick dollar, and they're gone. You know, there was no qualified unity to say, hey, look, if we stand together and stay and help to purchase some of these you know properties and stuff and rebuild as a community, you know that's what it's going to take. But a lot of people is like, man, I gotta go. I'm sick and tired of being here. I want more, and they seem that more is elsewhere.
Now, I'm gonna ask Detron. I see his statement, and I understand that because we need that economic power to keep it going. What is it? Depending on entertainers is like depending on politicians. We the people can do better individually and then create partnerships with others to accomplish a goal. But we're also saying like if the entertainer or a sports personality brings ventures back to the community where they're from, that's a plus because most of them do not do that.
Right. And because what's the main purpose of that? Jobs, right?
Yes.
And opportunities to create opportunities for other people. So you can create a business, but you can help other people to
Mhm.
create, you know, bus- businesses even under your umbrella.
Yeah, because like say everybody everybody can't make it out like they
Right,
did. But
right,
I'm gonna provide you with another opportunity to
right,
do that.
right. So you create a okay. So you come back and you create an opportunity. You set up a business. All right. Let's take a person that is let's say let's say a Subway, and you started this person create this business, and you started as person on the line. But guess what? If it's a viable opportunity, that person can, with proper training and guidance, rise up through the ranks. And guess what? That person can probably see the opportunity as owning one of your franchises. Are you developing them to own their own business, own their own opportunities? Are you giving them the opportunity to step out from under the shadows? So if yeah, people need to come back and create opportunities, and within those opportunities, people can see different ways out. Where they can start understanding that if I'm part of this organization, I can create an opportunity for myself as well.
But I'm gonna say this, Detron, that yes, they created the business to make money, but they could have created that business elsewhere
Right,
in a community outside of where they're at. But they decided to create a business to make money in that community and employ possibly people from that community.
right. Yeah, exactly. And I just think that's how a lot. No, it's not social. No, not social work. It is a business. Because that's how a lot of people have risen through the ranks. Someone gave them an opportunity. And I think if we're able to create opportunities. Opportunities for me means a way to create other businesses as well. You start one opportunity, and from that opportunity, you can garner other opportunities, whether it's for yourself or but also for the people that are under your umbrella. You you have your business start to flourish because you're helping other people in your business. They can help your business grow. And as your business grow, the same people that you started with, they now can start, understanding, okay, I have an opportunity. I can run one of your businesses. They have now elevated themselves, and from that opportunity, they can see other avenues for themselves because they were given an opportunity as well. I think that's just where it starts from. It definitely not social work. If you're helping someone, to understand that, business opportunities, help you to get out from under a situation. An opportunity is an opportunity. Whether you take advantage of it or not, it's up to you.
I totally agree with that. So
So I think, as we're fighting, where do we go, as we're from a year out. It's interesting that today is the actual anniversary for George Floyd. um what has changed? I don't know if a lot has changed. I don't know if not much has changed, in the year. This today, the anniversary of his death. um but I think, I don't know. I think our voices, we have to understand that we can't, allow our voices to be quieted. We Your business flourishes because people pay for your goods and service. Or sorry, you hire and fire. Calling short, yes. Making money, not creating an opportunity for someone, is the agenda. Yes, making money, but if you're not, yeah, if the people don't think that you value them as a part of that organization. That's how organizations grow.
mhm.
Yes, you're there to make money, but you don't make money without the people that are in that organization. Because as your business grow, it is a smart thing to promote from within. You know, you the guy that was your dishwasher, you know, help them to take some classes, give them some flexibility as if they're going to school. They too now can become managers of your operations, and as your people are progressing, as your people are being trained, and they're training other people under them, your organization will grow because you are investing in the people that are helping you make money, you know. So the better they are, the better your business is going to be, So, we have to make sure that we are investing in the people that are helping us make money. If they just see themselves as someone there to collect a paycheck, if that's all they're there to collect, is to collect a paycheck, then one, you have to understand, okay, are you a valued employee, or do you see yourself as a valued employee? What is it? Yes, there's always going to come down. What is it? What is in it for me? Am I being trained? Am I being trained to move up the ladder? Am I, do you just see me as someone just to help you make money? What's in it for me? Why should I show up every day to help you make money if there's nothing in it for me? You know, just don't pay people; they pay positions. Mm, I guess it all depends on the business model, I suppose. I think it depends on the business model. You know, it really does. I think if you really value your employees, you will invest in your employees. You really should. You know, I mean,
But
I,
let me blow back on that right quick. So you saying, but don't move. People get college degrees and don't move the needle for the company. But the jobs don't pay people. they pay positions. But is it not in some jobs your personality that moves you through that company? It's not just your what who you are in the position you are. It's also who you are and how you go about doing things
Right.
in that company.
All right. Perfect example. And I'm on LinkedIn, and there's a young lady that she started 8 years ago as a, a server or something of this sort. 8 years later, she is now she works for not IHOP, but what's the other one?
Denny's,
Not Denny's. Waffle
Waffle
House.
House.
Waffle House. 8 years later, she is now a district manager, and she is now in control of 5 stores. Okay, she started as a server and she progressed her way up. She went to school and she became a manager. She became a manager for one store and regional manager, and now she's a district manager for 5 other locations. So as an individual, she, I think, saw value in herself, but Waffle House saw value in her because of what she wanted to do. And she could have left, I'm sure, after getting her degree. But I think she saw an opportunity that said, I can do this, and she was rewarded for her investment and her hard work. you know so it all depends, I think, on the individual who's working there and the company that you're working for. Without increased sales and confidence, there will be no business to accelerate. Well,
Yeah, that's true.
right, your
That's
job is
true.
blank and that is what it pays. Well, I know. Yeah, so I just, you I think you get out of it what you put into it. So if you don't see value in where you are, so when you get your degree, you're going to bounce. You're going to go to a place that you know proud they see some value in you, and maybe you would want to invest more of yourself in another venture, in another opportunity. If that opportunity doesn't pan out, guess what? You have every right to bounce too. Until
Yeah,
you
but
get to
hold on, Ari. What he's saying right here is giving an example of a talented individual who can grow, but we're talking about communities as a whole, not solitary persons. But if you don't have stories like this that plant the seed for other individuals to believe that they can grow like this person,
Mhm.
it's not going to happen. They have to see stuff to
Yeah,
realize, oh, I can do that too.
yeah,
Especially for our community, we could I can see that. I can make that happen. I can do that.
right, 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 right. And and yes, you're right. Yeah, most college graduates have a job that doesn't require a degree. Yes,
Yeah,
that,
but that's society.
that's the society. Basically, there are a lot of CEOs right now that don't have college degrees, right? There are a lot of CEOs managing multiple, corporate that because, but that's the way they come up. They came up, how they came up, you know, whether they're white or black, you know.
And but let's say this too, though, a lot of people that get those opportunities that don't have a college degree don't look like us.
That is true too.
They want, but when you come in there, they want you to have the degree. They want you to have a master's. They want you to have all kind of stuff.
Right. And I think, when you, and I think basically once you've done that kind of work and put in that kind of time to get those accolades, and the people that you're working for don't see the value in it, then yes, bounce. Whether it's to go to another place to seek another opportunity, or create your own opportunities, which a lot of people have been doing. You don't see the value in me. Guess what? You know what? I'm going to create my own opportunity. And that's how come a lot of businesses have been started. People have gotten tired of not being valued by somebody else. So there's like, you know what? The light just came on. Ding 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 ding. I'm going to value myself more than what someone else values me. And I'm going to invest in me. I'm going to invest in my business, in the opportunity that I'm going to create for myself, you know. And so if those people, you know, and guess what? Those people eventually are going to create opportunities for other people. And if they do it in the communities that they grew up in, those communities, I think, will grow because other people, like you said, James, they will see, hopefully be inspired by the person, you know, um, and wanting to do something for themselves as well. And I think that's why a lot of businesses have other people saw and were motivated by other people. It's like shit, James doing this shit, man. As someone said, you what am I doing with my life? Basically, what am I doing with my life? When you have an idea, you've been sitting on an idea, and you either through fear or whatever it is, you can't move forward. But the minute that you do, you realize, shit, you know, I can do this, and guess what? You start a business, guess what? You're gonna eventually, as your business grow, you you bring in other people to help you, scale your business. You can't scale your business by yourself. You got to have other people around you, whether it's people that are working directly in your business or people that are helping you on the outside, PR people, sales people, marketing people, website people, all kind of people to help you move up. So you create opportunities for other people, and hopefully, when we're talking about doing business, black, now, if we're talking about black people, hopefully you try to involve other black people, to give them opportunities.
I was still looking at something. So somebody wrote. Let me see what. Oh, Detron. Get back to that.
Fear, yes, the fear is definitely cultural. Um, I think, and I think because of what we've been told, over the years, that we can't amount to anything because we're black, because of where you come from, because you're underprivileged, because you're from a single parent home, you're a single mother, you're a single mother, you can't do this, what have you. And that is the education that we've gotten. We can't do it because we are less than. And I think once you understand that you are not less than, that you're just as good, if not better, then you can rise right above that fear. Yes, the fear is cultural,
Mhm.
and we should not, live in that place where we can constantly think that we are inferior. You know, um, you know, sometimes it takes a little longer. Sometimes, the light comes on a little later than what we expect. But once you understand that you are not inferior and you can be better than, in a lot of cases, yeah, progress is made.
And let me respond to say something about what Detron said, that we have to start creating our own businesses and stuff like that. Hey,
Hmm.
he talked. You looking at two people that have done that and are doing that,
Hmm.
but at the same time, we also creating opportunities for other people too. Because I
Yeah.
it's plenty of times I want to see other people like me on set. I go on
Mm,
set and I'm usually the only black person.
right. You know, because if like someone that's 14 years old doesn't see a person like you on a project, or you know yeah, don't see somebody that looks like them, you know it's like, well, damn, how can, how is this possible for me? Is this possible for me to write this book, to whatever? We need it, and that's one of the reasons when I started, volunteering to go to schools and stuff. And it was so profound to me when I went to schools and I'm talking to teenagers, and you understood real quickly that their reality laid within their communities, understanding that they thought that the only way out was in by certain means, athletic scholarship, entertainment, or the way of the street, right? So when you come in as a volunteer, talking to them about stuff, seeing a professional in a different light, whether it's a chef, a banker, an accountant, a financial person, to give them that visual, here is somebody that looks like me, probably grew up in my community, but is outside doing something else other than what I thought was the only way for me to get out of this community, you know. And it takes more.
I'm gonna jump in on Ari right here because look like he froze for a second. But and I'd say the lack of representation is a big influence for why black people get degrees in low paying field. But I'm gonna continue on what Ari is saying is if you don't see people doing those kind of jobs and you see people constantly doing these jobs in lower paying fields, that's what you tend to go to. You go to what's familiar. If you see doctors and lawyers and stuff like that in your neighborhood and they look like you have a more of a feeling to go that way.
Sorry, what did you just say? I had to
Hold
reconnect.
on, Irie. Yeah, your screen went blank, but I see you.
Yeah, I see you too.
Hold on. I don't know what's going on. Your screen is blank.
Really?
I'm frozen now.
No, you're not frozen. I can see you.
I already signed out and signed back in again because I don't know what's going on. Is I
Okay,
can't hear you.
let me do that real quick.
Okay, here we go. Okay, there you go.
There I am. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The lack of representation is a big influence for why blacks get degrees in low paying fields. Yes,
I was just talking about that, saying it goes to back what you were just saying before you froze. That what you tend to see is what you mimic. If you don't see doctors and lawyers and stockbrokers and stuff like that around you, you tend to go to what's familiar. If you see
right.
people with lower degrees, that's what you tend to go for.
Yeah, you accept the status quo. If this is what it is for me, then this is where I'm gonna go. So yeah, and so I always implored, people in the business world or just the professional world to go and speak to the kids that look like us, because they want to see us. They want to see different representation of the people that live in their communities, because even in those communities where they're striving to be the to get an athletic scholarship, football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, or to be a rapper or some form of entertainment world or what have you. There are a lot of the people who are successful who live in their communities, but they are not being placed in front of them to see that there are other options, right? And if you are able to get to them at an early age to say, hey, there are other options for you to explore. Hence, you gotta stay in school. You know, if you know you gotta fight hard. You know, you can't be quitting school. You can't be on the street. You know, blah blah blah. You know, you never thought about going to college. Well, maybe you should think about going to college. Okay, you know, go to college, get a job. You know, go to college and work. You know, and do like other people do. Because when I see a lot of those, individuals that have talents and they feel that they can't explore those talents, one, because they sometimes often don't understand where the opportunity lays, where they can go to explore said talent, explore computer skills, blah, and this become um, you're giving out stock tips right now. As you can see, a lot more black people are becoming you know I guess savvy in investments because someone else told them, hey, look, you can reap some financial rewards by understanding the stock market thing. And that's what it takes.
Now I agree with that right there on both, on both what you said, Irie, and what Detron is saying in here.
Yeah, when so yes, if adults are being self-destructive, then it is at a hindrance to themselves and to the people, the young people who are looking up to them, not necessarily as role models, but like you said, just what they see. So if you're going to be self-destructive, then that's not going to benefit the young people that you're trying to reach. You need to go in as being positive, and I guess the people who are okaying you to come and speak to these children, and maybe yes, then maybe they need to to vet you, making sure that you're going to come in and speak positively to these young people, because I think there's a lot of 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 talent there to build communities. You see it in other countries. Why can't it happen here, where young people grow, go outside, get educated, and still come back or stay in their communities, to build different establishments in their communities, different jobs, different businesses. you know it just takes for them to see other people doing other things other than what they think is the only way.
Yep. So I'm looking at the time.
Mm. By the way, by the way, Detroit is giving us some stock tips. So,
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
yeah,
mess
we
with
need
him
to know.
about
We
that
need to
later.
know which businesses those are, so we can go look them up to ourselves.
Fact checker
Yeah,
is
I see
already
the
looking.
handles, but damn, man.
Fact checker is already looking, so we can break it down. But I'm gonna mess with him and say, man, you share that with the world.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I say you're supposed to slide that in my text or my DM.
Stay alive. Yeah. And the school administrators put me in front of misfits, not those with high aspirations. But real quickly, just to respond to that last statement that Detroit just posted. And as much as I said what I said, we also have to understand the reality of what a lot of young people go through, you know, in terms of who we get to speak to and where their minds are. Some of them are probably lost already, and some of them are on the fringe, and some of them are not lost. So if you speak in front of a group of 20, 30 young people, and two young people out of that group heard something that inspired them, all is not lost in what you just said.
And that's what I was getting ready to go that route and saying, hey, if you reach one person in that group of misfits, you
Hmm.
won.
Right. Because
Because
what it,
you could change the life of one person
yeah, one person.
that could change the life of two to three others.
Right. And then and look at it on the other side as well. Look at it from their perspective. It only takes one person to come to them to show them that you cared, right? So if you are that one person to show that you cared, maybe one person will understand that that was important. It was enough for them to see that someone else outside of their reality cared about, having them come up through the system. Or you can help 10 ambitious kids who help 200 people. See, yeah, it's just a matter of, it's just a matter of who
Just
you
your
reach, and
perspective.
when you reach them. So to tie everything back, so maybe that's what we're fighting for. We are fighting for a new, a young, the next generation to see what opportunities are there, whether it's through education, through politics, through business, what have you, to have them see that there are opportunities. Maybe that's what we're fighting for. We're not fighting for being Republicans or Democrats. We're fighting for the next generation of hopefuls. So if we continue, to express the audacity of hope, then that's what we're fighting for. The uprise of the next generation. Because when we gone, we gone.
Okay.
When we're gone, we're gone.
And I must say that what my points of what we're fighting for is along that lines, but I'm saying we're fighting for unity amongst ourselves. We're fighting for the inner of qualified immunity. We're fighting for to gain more economic power, to get a better power base. And we're fighting for the next generation. Because if we do those top ones before we fight, we're always fighting for the next generation. But if the next generation see us fighting for that stuff too, they're coming along with the fight with us.
Yeah. So it has to be. Yeah. So it has to be an all-inclusive kind of effort. It has to be an all-inclusive. You can't leave the ideas that we may often need fresh ideas and fresh, fresh things to move things forward.
Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna call it. This has been an episode of The Bridge. What are we fighting for? See you next week. Peace.
Peace out. Hey, before you go, so my segment on Rick Smiley has changed. So I am now going alternating Fridays. This Friday, I'll be on this Friday, and I'll be alternating with another chef, Shin. So instead of Monday morning, I will now be on alternating mornings. Same time, 9:30 and 9:45, quarantine on Ricky Smiley Morning Show.
Chef Jen that we know, that's in Orlando.
No, she's She is in Alabama.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Found
Okay.
out- Yeah, she's in Alabama.
All right. So catch Irie this Friday on the Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Catch Chef Jen the next week, and then catch Chef Irie again the following week.
There you go.
All right.
There you
This
go.
has been an episode of The Bridge. Catch you later.
Yo, yo.